Wow, this is interesting. Archeologists say Atlantis ruins found near Cadiz, giant tsunami likely caused its destruction. Wow. Let's read through it. Michael Donnellan presented scans showing circular structures submerged on the ocean floor, aligning with Plato's descriptions. So I'm going to dive into this a little bit just to see if there's anything fucking to this. An archaeologist named Michael Donnellan announced a discovery that he believes could be the legendary lost city of Atlantis. Donnellan asserted that he found submerged structures on the coast of Cadiz, Spain, which corresponded closely with the descriptions given by ancient Greek philosopher Plato. Yeah, well, yeah, that would be, depending upon where, that would be, well, it's off the Straits of Gibraltar, or the Pillars of Heracles, is where it was called. So it's like right, Spain would be kind of right there. Portugal's right there too. And a recent conference titled the Cosmic Summit. Oh, interesting. And North Carolinian presented videos and scans indicating a network of circular formations on the ocean floor. He believes these submerged structures are the remnants of Atlantis, as detailed by Plato's work See Timaeus and the Critias, or Critias, however you pronounce it. Over the past 8 years, Donnellan's team conducted extensive research along the coastline near Cadiz, employing sonar and LiDAR technology. This research uncovered long, intersecting linear structures, forming enormous concentric circular walls standing over 6 meters high. We discovered long, linear structures intersecting on the seabed, said Donnellan. JP posts videos. Interesting. Yeah. Google Earth Cadiz, I did, is very close to the Pillars meme. Maybe we should do that right now. Yeah. Let's see. So where is there's no video of this presentation though, I don't think. This is just kind of, so the Cosmic Summit I've been trying to find more content on this. Let's see. We'll go to Google Earth. Google Earth. Go. Take a look. We'll go to Cadiz, Spain. Oh, fuck. Yeah. That is right there. That's for goddamn sure. Wow. People usually point to here, but that is also literally right there. So, wow, maybe it was right here. Who the fuck knows? Interesting though. Okay. So, well, let's see what he has to say here. Jay posts videos. He explained that the outer wall appeared to have suffered major destruction, potentially due to a massive tsunami, while the inner walls were displaced and split into two parts. The inner second and third walls were completely displaced and split in two, Donnellan noted. At the center of these concentric rings, the team identified a rectangular ruin that Donnellan believes corresponds to the Temple of Poseidon, described by Plato. The layout matches perfectly with Plato's description, said Donnellan. In a documentary featuring their work, Donnellan and his colleagues were seen diving in turbid waters, claiming to come face to face with the first wall of the structure. They reported that the underwater formations exhibited sharp right angles, flat surfaces, and uniform thickness several feet thick. Upon observation, clearly cut stones are seen stacked one on top of the other, said Donnellan. He asserted the arrangement of the walls is too orderly to be of a natural origin, suggesting intentional human construction. Donnellan believes that these findings support the existence of Atlantis as portrayed by Plato, proposing that civilization sank into the ocean approximately 11,600 years ago due to a great catastrophe possibly associated with the Younger Dryas climatic event, which was the summit, the cosmic summit in North Carolina. It was the Common Research Group, I believe, that hosted it essentially. And so their theory, obviously, is that this happens, what they're working towards. Plato puts it very well. He says that this happened in a night of earthquakes and floods, said Donnellan. Fuck. The Younger Dryas was a time of global climate change, and some researchers suggest could have led to the demise of advanced prehistoric civilization. Would have been bad enough, that's for goddamn sure. Yeah. We'll be close, but the area they're talking about, the world, would have been connected to the land of biblical stories. Yeah, maybe, yeah. What are the two largest pillars on Earth? Maybe the pillars of creation wasn't a metaphor. Should scan around there. That's not the only area that lost landmass from the tsunami, so I wonder if maybe it was the gateway to the island, possibly. Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, depending upon what had happened, I mean, even this whole area here could have been carved the fuck out. Like, how bad was it? Right? And I think that's where we just don't know. I mean, there are some people who I know specialize in this, in trying to figure out, like when you look at a landscape, like, is this something that's been subject to catastrophe in the past? Like, how do we know? Obviously, if this is 11,600 years ago, the water level here would have been 400 feet lower. So potentially this area would have been above water. I don't know how deep. He didn't stipulate, I think, how deep it was, did he? Really anywhere outside of the Straits of Gibraltar here, or Pillars of Heracles, whatever you want to refer to them as, what Plato called them. But anywhere outside of here is probably game. Like there's really even like fucking here. I mean, the Azores claims the site of Atlantis. I remember the airline that runs out of here claims this is the home of Atlantis. Really, this whole fucking island chain could have been the goddamn, any one of them could have, or they could all have been part of the empire too. If it was this kind of, you know, it made all the way down into here. I thought it was at Bermuda, but all the way along here are island chains. And so like, it could have all been a part of that empire. Who knows, right? I mean, yes, they do. His interpretation of the location of Atlantis aligns with Plato's descriptions, placing the island civilization west of the Pillar of Hercules. I would say Heracles, sorry. Known today as the Strait of Gibraltar. He recalled that Plato mentioned Atlantis was located near ancient Gades, known as Cadiz, the oldest city in Western Europe. They match exactly with Plato's descriptions, insisted Denellen. He is yet to convince the entire scientific community. Perhaps we should now speak of an ancient Atlantean culture. It's easier to believe when the evidence speaks for itself. Denellen and his team conducted more than 20 dives, uncovering new evidence such as collapsed walls, artificial canals, and huge stones that appeared to have been violently displaced from their original positions. Among the discoveries were large rectangular stones with dimensions comparable to half the size of a small car. Jesus. He mentioned that the dimensions of the submerged city closely corresponded to the 3,000 to 2,000 stadia mentioned by Plato, which is approximately 241 by 227 miles. That's fucking big. The size of the state of Nevada in the United States. Jesus Christ. Okay. That's, yeah. God, I forget how big that is. Isn't that fucking big? Mother of Christ. Yeah. Interesting. Well, I mean, who knows? I've never heard that before in my life. This is the first time I've ever heard anything about this. The Daily Mail reported on the find. This is the Jerusalem Post. And it's not where you think. No, tsunami evidence, migration after disaster, underwater structure off Sicily, submerged ruins near Donana, a lost temple west of Ireland returns to focus. Interesting, because yeah, would that not be? Well, that's not. No, it's kind of the what was it called again? Fuck. What's it called again? Forged Xenomap from the 16th century. What do you guys remember? What's that name of that mythical? Oh, New Brazil. High Brazil. High Brazil. High Brazil is the island off of Ireland, which I mean, again, would be, that's actually a ways away. But who the fuck knows? See, all these places could have been technically game. So yeah. Yeah. Would make sense why they keep finding copper, bronze ingots over 10,000 years old across the section of the ocean. They do. They found them around Bimini as well as by Cadiz. Did they actually? I didn't know they found them around Bimini. That's interesting. I know they found them through the Mediterranean. Yeah. Orichalcum. Orichalcum is what it was called for people that don't know. Was the substance which looked like a fool's gold, but it's what the Atlanteans, according to Plato, supposedly adorned all of their buildings with. Like, so it was some kind of well, obviously it wasn't gold, but it was kind of this fake gold they covered the city with. And yeah, that's exactly right, man. It's another mystery. And they found multiple shipwrecks in the Mediterranean with it. With these ingots, this metal that really nobody should have been making around that time. So was it a relic of some older civilization? I mean, yeah. Heard Giorgio talking about this a while back. Did you seriously? Was Giorgio seriously talking about this? Yeah, interesting. Ireland Ware was watching a video earlier today, and apparently Ireland is one of the oldest DNA. It would have been, it's like somewhere out here, which I think actually, did they actually label it here? No, that's a fucked up map, too. That's before we actually knew what the fuck is going on. But High Brazil was what it was called. Yeah, let's see if I can pull it up. Actually, well, you know what's always easier is to get old Billy here. Talk to us about High Brazil. Hi, Brazil. Yeah. Plus, Malta just happens to be next door. It's also they like Atlanteans were giants. Exactly. Yeah. All the giants built the structures, man. It's crazy. Like, it's just never ending, the dots that connect all this together, which is why the people out there saying that there's nothing to this are just fucking asinine. I don't know what the fuck. Modern anthropology. Not everyone in anthropology is that ignorant, I don't think, but like the establishment seems to be. The short, salty version, a phantom Atlantic island that shows up on medieval maps, appears once every 7 years if you're lucky or inebriated. Gifts visitors gold-loving cats, has recently been promoted to UFO homeworld by the New Age marketing department. Fuck yeah. Lovely place, shame it never existed. Go fuck yourself, you don't know that. What the cartographers folklorists claimed back in 1325, the Dulcert map, Brasil, west of Ireland, perfect circle, likely a copying error or mirage. In 1375 to 1436, Ireland split into two semicircles labeled Ilha de Brasil. He's saying copy-paste contagion spreads through map makers. Okay. From the 1400s to the 1600s, Irish tales shines through mist every 7 years. Rich, utopian, cats with golden chains, charming, folklore mixing with fishermen's Fata Morgana. We got a Captain John Nisbet allegedly lands, comes home richer in 1677. Story first appears in the 1800s, a couple 100 plus years later. Roderick O'Flaherty, it's a very Irish name, writes of O Brasil, visible from Connemara. Oh, it's an interesting name, actually. That's related to my last name, actually. That is what my last name means. Yeah. He never claims to land. Probably saw Bonfire Clare Island in Hayes. Gradual erasure from nautical charts after repeated Royal Navy no-shows. Hydrographic Office finally says, right, that's enough. Yeah. Forteans link High Brazil to Rendlesham UFO. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. Binary message alleged decoding. Right, these coordinates sit in the ocean, no island, no cats. Well, that's the whole fucking point. It's supposed to be out here hidden. You fucking stop killing our fun. Yeah. High Brazil, southwest of the coast of Ireland. It was still in the maps in the 1800s. Yeah, Ireland is the longest time had highest population of redheads. Then in old mythology pushes appeasing the spirits. Maybe we worked with the giants. Media. Well, that's the meme. Yeah. Well, the fairy circles, like the mounds. You guys had mounds there too. Jim O'Mara, pretty much, yeah. There were these fairy circle mounds or fairy mounds too in Ireland, which are very interesting. And I think, wasn't the Tuatha Dé Danann had something to do with them at some point? Yeah. Yeah. The ancient populace of Scotland, Ireland, and Britain used to be nothing but red-haired giants and people they abducted from outlying areas. Supposedly, yeah. Well, people, there's a couple myths and legends going back that talk about this, and I've memed about this before, but there's really there's one prominent one, which comes from a priest, I think. His name's Monarith or something. I forget what his name, Geoffrey of Monith, or it was in the 1300s, but he had told this story of Brutus of Troy. So the Trojans made a journey to this place. They called this whole, I think this is legitimate, this whole area of Britain was known as Albion because of the White Cliffs of Dover. Cliffs of Dover. So they refer to this Albion. Yeah, right there. White Cliffs of Dover right there. And anyway, the story goes that when the Trojans ended up landing here, they were greeted by a party of giants, that the island was inhabited by these giant men, led by this warlord named Gog Magog, who was himself also a giant. And what happened is the Trojans outnumbered them, killed them all, and then Brutus, or one of Brutus's men, threw Gog Magog off of the White Cliffs of Dover, and I think it's called Gog Magog's Leap? Gog Magog's, maybe you can't, oh yeah, Gog Magog Hill. See, there's all these fucking places named after him. Although it's way the fuck up here. Gog Magog Hill, Gog. Oh, that's that guy. You guys living there can probably go visit this fucking place. These places. Gog Magog's Leap. Is it still named it? It may not be anymore. No, it's not. I think it was down here somewhere originally. It may still be known that locally, but anyway, that's supposedly where he threw them off. He died. So that's a real story, and I don't think he stipulated what color their hair was in that story, but. There's a bunch of other stories about Stonehenge too from the locals, like because maybe there were more people here, but the Celts had told the stories that it was built by giants. Yeah. Yeah. You'd Connemara whiskey some years ago. Fuck yeah. Yeah, it means hound of the sea or something, I think is what it means. But it's a variation on that, my last name. People probably know anyway. I've doxed myself here enough, yeah. Yeah, there's a place called the Giants Causeway. Oh, interesting. It wasn't until a brood of Tyre raided what became Britain. There was much outside influence, and there's a many story about red hairs. Oh, these are actually okay, interesting. Yeah. So is that Brutus? Maybe is that another variation on Brutus? Maybe interesting. Geoffrey of Monmouth, yes, which is just on the English-Wales border. Okay. Yeah, you can look up like Gog. I thought it was one word. I thought it was Gog Magog, the giant that they encountered. So like again, like when you go, this is it, never ending. It's a never ending meme. And like the description that they gave, even the description that survived. So this was done in 1808, but you know, they're not depicted as being these 30-foot tall people. They're people. They're other people that are. And that was kind of the meme, that this was a real thing that had happened. They were real people. And they, over time, they got telephone gamed into these two people, right? So they were Gog and Magog. And then there's some kind of, where is this at? Gog and Magog effigies being carried in the Lord Mayor's show. So they split into two people, but originally they were one giant here. So, yeah. How does that fucking relate to Atlantis? Well, they were all giants. But like, no joke, seriously, potentially. That's the idea. And this is like where you get into Graham's meme, maybe Hancock's meme, that wherever in the fuck it was located, that what happened after the cataclysm is these people went everywhere. They went to Africa, Northern Africa. They went all over Europe. They went into the Mediterranean. They went into the Mesopotamian areas. They went up here, right into Ireland and the UK, and they went into Britain, and they also went up to Norway, and they also went over here, right to North America, which would have been covered in ice at that time. So they would have went down here, and then you have all of these burial mounds with these giant red-haired people, supposedly where they were found. And they also went to Mesoamerica, right? You got Quetzalcoatl, and then you go through some areas of South America. You get Viracocha. This tall, very tall, bearded man arrives with his posse, and then they travel all the way down, right? And so it kind of makes sense that they were these refugees out of this area here. So, you know, how advanced were they? It's a question, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, Brutus of Troy is actually Brood of Tyre in antiquity, okay, because of where he ended up secluded after persecution. Okay, interesting. I'm not an expert on his history. Yeah, the reason I said Brutus of Tyre is because it appears more frequently in text versions of the Romanized Brutus of Troy. Oh, interesting. I literally only know of him, man, through this story. And I can't remember how I got onto this, but probably 10 plus years ago when I first started looking into this, really. Like, I ran into this through Sitchin and reading Sitchin's works, being like, okay, well, the Anunnaki were big, blah, blah, blah. But it actually started to become more real when I started running into all these accounts of these giant people. It was probably from someone like Hugh Newman or someone who made a post online that I read talking about like this. I don't know where I came into it from, but when I looked into it, I mean, it's just one account, obviously, but there are so many. I'm pretty sure, again, I have to go through Plato's work again. You don't mention giants anywhere in his dialogues. I thought he did. Maybe I could very well be confusing this with another Greek author that I thought there was a mention of. It was from somebody of these. There was a far off place, a land of giants. Like this was a rumor in antiquity, and that place may have literally been Britain, but Albion back then, or there was no name for it if you go back far enough, possibly. But like this is obviously the Trojans precede even the Greeks here, so like we're going way back. So then these would have been myths and legends through their time, which is crazy to consider if that's true. Yeah. Yeah. It's a history that the powers that be would rather people not know. It directly links the first high kings that became Masons in a plot tied to Jesuit Kabbalism. Interesting. I mean, it's not having any luck here. I mean, it should be able to read through all of Plato's dialogues in 5 seconds because it's objectively not a lot of writing. So it should be able to go through all of it pretty quickly comparatively to what it could go through with something else. So I don't know. Interesting. Only in passing and never as real history. Okay. The passage, the Elastic Stranger described as a war of gods against giants about being. This is in the Sophist, the Symposium. Zeus wonders whether to blast humanity as he once did the giants when the original 3 sexed humans rebelled. Interesting. Okay, maybe it wasn't him. It wasn't him, I don't think. Yeah. I thought he did. Okay, Earthborn autochthonisis, humans but never labeled them gigantes. Okay, maybe it wasn't Plato. There was somebody else who did it to the Greek world, probably get it to dig research this, but that there was a far off land that they had heard there were these giants who resided there, right? And I probably referencing Britain. Yeah. I'd have to go back and look through again and see who I've conflated that with, but I mean, nonetheless, interesting. But yeah, you know, so they find Atlantis. What do we expect to find? I don't fucking know. Like, the problem with all of this, I guess, is like you go back 11,000 years ago under the fucking water, man. Christ, there's going to be nothing left, especially human remains. There would be no human remains anywhere there. They'd all be long fucking gone by that point. So even if that's what they were made up as, good luck. Or sorry, made up of these giant peoples, there would be nothing left to any of them. So except if you found any kind of writing. But then again, the exciting thing about this recent find, supposedly that Filippo Bionde and his team have done in Egypt, is that, and this is according to Wu, really, but according to Wu, like Edgar Casey, who is Deep Wu, this was a repository of knowledge from these survivors, and they built Egypt, Giza, as kind of a housing of all of this lost knowledge. And so if those structures are real, if they are, and they are completely submerged in water again, and we can get down in them, and we might find a repository of their records, and that would be fucking crazy. But then again, like, there's another reason for the global elite to like not fucking let the rest of humanity in on that. So